Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Sergey and I'm the owner of NinaVova Custom Jewelry. We make custom engagement rings and the wedding bands here in Los Angeles. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about ethical gemstone sourcing, what it actually is, whether certificates or the cumulative process going to help us to buy the right stone, and if not, what is the solution? So let's just go step by step. And I wanted to record this video for a very long time, but the other things were in front of me. I would need to answer the questions, what gold to choose and what color of the gemstone is better for you. But I recently went to Human Rights Museum in Atlanta, Georgia, and after I saw everything visually, I figured, yeah, I need to push everything slightly further and make this video first because how important it is. So first of all, let's talk what is the ethical gemstone sourcing is. What is the included under this umbrella term in general? Well, first of all, and probably the most important thing here is the human rights. When we're talking about ethical gemstone ethically mined gemstone, we're talking about the human rights, that they are not violated, first of all, which is pretty common in developed country. You can simply open the news and you will see that all over the places. There's a beautiful movie shot by Leonardo DiCaprio, The Blood Diamond. You can see it there too, and from there you can dive into the topic. It's pretty hard in a few words. Second thing, we want to make sure that the working environments are right. First of all, it's a safe place to work. It's relatively comfortable place to work. There is everything that's needed provided to the worker. And of course, the mine cannot be as comfortable as the office, but it also doesn't have to be deadly for someone who is working there. Third thing is the child labor, and by that we mean that children's not forced to use in this mines. If we're talking about this topic in general, it's important to understand that it's of course almost a normal thing for 15, 16 years old a kid to work with his father in the developing country at the mine, which is not which is not acceptable here in the United States. But we have to look at the reality over here. What I'm talking here is that the child labor is not abused and the children's not forced to work in the harsh environment. And you would be surprised, but still in 2023, it's a pretty common thing in developing countries. And another thing is sponsoring the war conflict, and that's just a horrible thing by itself. That's primarily, when we're talking about sponsoring the war conflict, we're predominantly talking about the diamonds because they are incredibly stable on the market and they often used as the currency, and in lots of places in Africa still to this days, unethically sourced diamond with all of these things that I just mentioned before, with the violation of human rights and everything, all of these diamonds goes into sponsoring the war conflicts. And again, I'm going to be referencing the Blood Diamond movie there. Of course, it's a Hollywood movie, but there is lots of truth in it. And if you dig into the topic a little bit further, you will see what is going on. And the last thing that I want to mention over here is that the mining is the eco-friendly. What do they do to preserve the site where they mine in the stones? What is the practices? And either if they invest in back into the environment or into the community itself. It's a very important topic as well, not as the previous ones, of course, in my personal opinion, but they still very important. So now when we talked about all of these issues, I want to talk about the certifications because it's a very common misconception that certificate would guarantee you that the diamond or other gemstone ethically sourced. As soon as we see the paperwork, we tend to think that it's a conflict-free gemstone, which is not true. And it's very clearly stated on the GIA website. They basically saying that they do not guarantee that the diamond or the gemstone is conflict-free. There is a separate certificate, the certificate of origin, and this one is tracking the stone back to its source, but not the certificate that comes with the diamond itself. You can open it if you're lucky enough to have the diamond, and you will see that there is no country in it. And it's just all happens because how large the industry itself. There is lots of diamonds in the world. There is lots of sales happening every day. And it's simply impossible to track all of this diamonds all together. The industry of the sapphires, for example, much smaller, which might be surprising for some of the people, but the diamond industry is huge. And the chain of the entire process is pretty big too. For example, in a few words, in most of the cases, all of the diamonds would be mined in one of these 4 countries. In Africa, Russia, India, or Canada. And that's the rough stone. After that, it needs to be cut into this beautiful diamond that you have in your engagement ring. After that, it's going to go to India to be cut. Not all of them, but as for 2023, 90% or so diamonds goes into the India to be cut. After that, it's probably going to go through a couple of wholesalers that might sell it one to another, depending on how large they are. And after it's going to change a few hands, it's going to go to the retailer. And of course, when it's going to get to the retailer, for the retailer, it's almost impossible to track the diamond back. There is a Kimberley process known to a lot of people, and it did work beautifully, almost beautifully for the first few years, but now, unfortunately, it just doesn't. And you will see lots of reports on the news that these rules were violated. So I wouldn't really say it's perfectly relevant at that point of time. It might change in the future. So now when you know that the certificate is not really an answer for that type of question, what do you do? Well, in NinaVova jewelry, what we did, we just went, I would call it old-fashioned way. When we started searching for the supplier, we just went to the different gem expo and started talking with the people. And very quickly, they would fall into the 2 categories. One who wants to run their business in a shady way, and you will feel it, you will see it right away. And there is the other people who do care about their community, about how their stones are sourced. They care about the past, and they of course cared about the future as well. They reinvest in the community, they reinvest into their environment, and of course they do charge more. And usually it just happens in the conversation right away when you're there. You would sit down, you would start talking. They would show you photos and videos, how they go through the different mines, how they look like, and when do they actually get in the stones. And I'm talking about the gemstones right now specifically. I'm not talking about the diamond. So they're going to show you all of that. And of course, on top of that, they will show you the certificates. They will show you their efforts of building things around their community. They just think differently. And that's the people you want to work with, and you want to establish this relationship with that people. Unfortunately, it's not really realistic to track each and every stone. You cannot just go there and buy stones from the random places and ask certificate for each and every stone and also double check these certificates. It's just not humanly possible in the business spectrum, I would say. But what you want to do, you want to establish the relationship with each and every vendor for the different stones. And you want to ask them all sorts of questions. You want to meet with them. And sometimes after a couple of years, you even want to fly there and you want to check what is going on around. Because eventually, for me personally, as soon as I was exposed to that topic, it was very clear for me on what side I want to be. Do I want to make as much profit as possible without caring about anything? Or I want to make sure that the people who does that do this in an ethical way? The answer is comes to you immediately, basically. So in our case, what we ended up with the chain of suppliers for different stones. Let's say for the morganites and aquamarine, we have one supplier, and I personally met with this person. We talked about all the different kind of topics, and I saw the mines. And as a side effect, this relationship also will extend to the quality of the gemstones itself. It's not a secret that it's pretty much impossible to see the quality of the stones with the photo or the video until you actually get it. And you don't want to spend time on shipping stones back and forth. You want to establish the relationship with the supplier, and you want to make sure that they're honest about the products that they sell to you. So if you asking them to send you a beautiful yellow sapphire, the best under this price point, that's what they're going to do. You don't want to get the bad stone and then send it back and ask for the new one and just keep going with the circle. No, not really. And it just happens to be natural. It's not like one person would care about the ethical aspects of sourcing the stone and would not care about the quality of their product. That's not the way their brains wired. They thinking much further into the future, and because of that, all of these decisions aligned on the same level. That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's not the most cheerful topic to talk about, but I think it's incredibly important to be aware of these issues and make sure that you making right decisions, not only about the color and the clarity and inclusion of your gemstone, but also about where is it coming from. You want to make sure about this as equally as about the quality of the gemstone. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.